can't get transmission behind him. You have to get transmission in front of him. Oh. Oh. I'm on. All right, let's go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sunday's Dharma Talk. If I can have your attention, please. Chatters, visitors. Hey, you down there. Karen. Thank you. All right, giving our opening talk today is our own Eva Canasti. Eva started seriously practicing Zen in 2023, taking 5 precepts in 2024. Her role at PZC is to help with marketing and social media, but you can most reliably find her watering plants and coming up with too many ideas. Eva grew up in Poland, but spent most of her adult life living in Boston before moving to Rhode Island in 2023. She works as a user experience consultant, helping technologies easier for people to use, and also serves as program chair and faculty at Brandeis University's User-Centered Design program. In her spare time, she enjoys hiking with her dog, travel, photography, and creative writing. And answering questions today is our own Zen Master Tan Gong, José Ramírez. Zen Master Tan Gong is a co-guiding teacher here at Providence Zen Center and the guiding teacher at the Delaware Valley Zen Center, which he helped establish in 1999. He began studying Zen with Zen Master Dae Kwang at the Providence Zen Center in 1994, receiving Inka in 2009, and Dharma transmission from Zen Master Dae Kwang on April 1st, 2023. As an industrial statistician, he works with engineers and scientists to help them make sense of the data. He lives in Rhode Island with his wife and daughter. So thank you both for appearing.
So I signed up for this Dharma talk a couple weeks ago because there was an empty spot in the sign-up sheet, and I usually have a couple of ideas that I think would make a good Dharma talk. And then I checked my email the other day, and I had an email from Zen Master telling me how to, basically with some instructions for how to do, a Dharma talk. And and immediately this idea appeared in my head why he was sending me this email. And then a second idea appeared about why he was sending me this email. And actually this morning I had a third idea about why he was sending me this email. But in the meantime, I actually read the email, and it talked about the fact that you should talk about the great question, and then the structure should be what brought you to the Sangha, or to practice Zen. And then one of my ideas was kind of exactly about that. So I decided to put down all these, ideas as to why I was being sent this email, and also this insight appeared. I really don't like being told what to do. And that's one of the things that I kind of knew that, honestly, before I came to practice Zen. But I think when you practice in community, it becomes a lot clearer. The more people you have to deal with, the more you realize how your opinions and their opinions don't always align. And you have to make decisions about how to stay true to yourself and also be part of the community. So the short of it, as far as what brought me to Zen, I think let's talk about Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. For me, it was the Sangha. That really was it. I had just moved to Rhode Island. I didn't really know many people. And I'm also, a first-generation immigrant. I don't have any other family in the U.S. So I really was looking for, a place where I could meet all kinds of people, make new friends, etc. And although Zen had always kind of resonated with me, to be honest, it was probably, secondary. It was kind of like, okay, this is the kind of community that I think I would fit in. Meditation is great. I will, try it and see how it goes. So here I am a couple of years later, and I've met, a lot of teachers. We're kind of lucky to have all these teachers, and each teacher has a very different approach to teaching. And I was having a conversation with Zen Master Young, Bobby Rhodes, who is the head of the school. It was a few months ago. And I think I was complaining about some kind of problem I had in my life, which was probably a problem with some other person, because that's usually how it goes. And what she said is, you have to believe in yourself 100%. You have to just tell the person how it is for you. And I kind of thought, well, I believe in myself. It's the other people that are the problem. But, I also, respect her, and when someone tells me something, I try to just, consider it and see whether I can put it into practice and see how, what happens. So I thought, okay, I'll go and start just be more honest with people. Because sometimes I feel like one of the things that I've struggled with in my life is, I don't like it when people are upset. I don't like it when they're upset with me. I don't like it when they're angry or disagree. So sometimes I really have this, there's always a point where I'm like, well, should I just hold back? Is it worth it to say, what I really think? Is it worth it to disagree with someone? And a lot of times I'll just kind of hold my tongue. But I also find that has some negative effects in that it can just kind of, people don't know that you might have an issue, and it ends up kind of festering and affecting your relationship. But when I started being a little, just kind of, I found myself going a little overboard, and I started feeling like I was becoming a bit of a jerk. It wasn't like I was saying anything, bad or wrong, but it just caused some friction with people. But it was also a good learning experience in that, yes, maybe I was a little bit of a jerk sometimes, but it actually didn't ruin the relationship. We were able to get past whatever the problem was. So, all that to say that, I came here because of the community, because I really wanted to have good relationships with people. But there's also, I'm sure you've heard this saying, hell is other people, which is when you really kind of look at humanity as a whole, it doesn't look very good. People are doing terrible things all the time, and it's very easy to think they're the jerk, and I'm right, because, I mean well. So, at the same time, we're at a time in history where it used to be we would have very close-knit communities, and it would be kind of like, okay, I'm part of this community and everyone else is bad, so I'm going to fight them. Now we're in a place where I think a lot of people, including myself at times in my life, feel very alienated from community, feel very alienated from other people. And the disagreements that we have, they just feel like they're not solvable. And I mean, politics, I think, is a very good example. And on the one hand, it's like we have everything. We have enough food to feed everyone. We have technology that's really like beyond our wildest imagination. And yet we just can't get along, So it's a huge paradox. And I was reflecting on kind of what it's been like for me to become part of this community, and I was thinking about just how each of us here, the people who work here, who volunteer here, each of us is very, very different in like the attitudes that we have, the approach we have, even toward like Zen or really anything. You can find like the small disagreements, you can find the big disagreements. And I was, for example, Zen Master Tan Gong, comes from a Christian tradition. I grew up in a Catholic country, but my family was, I would say, kind of, if you think of like the definition of like militant atheist, that's my father. So I grew up with I would say, a pretty negative view of religion, and I don't have much of an inclination towards religious feeling. I would say, I am more of like a pragmatist. I have a little bit of mysticism thrown in there, which is kind of a weird combination. But for the most part, I'm very I don't believe in reincarnation. I don't believe in some of the more I don't have any Christian beliefs, anything like that. And Zen Master Tan Gong usually has this question, why do you eat every day? And whenever he says it, I always think, I eat because I really love food. And I can't function if I don't eat. And I know that's totally not the answer he's looking for. And similarly, I don't have, we have monastics here. I don't have any kind of monastic inclination. I really want to be kind of in the world, working. I don't particularly enjoy the idea of doing long retreats. That doesn't sound very good to me. So there are all these very, very significant differences between us. But then in Zen there's this idea, but we're all the same. And it's really kind of interesting to think how do we actually manage to get along and like each other? I feel like in this community, people really like each other, and there's something very precious about that. So even if someone really pisses you off or annoys you, somehow underneath that you can come back to this idea, this person, I trust this person, I know they mean well. And we kind of have the same direction. And I think that's kind of, the answer. There is this, when I was thinking about this talk initially, it was kind of inspired by this quote by Thich Nhat Hanh, which is, "The next Buddha will be a Sangha." And I think that's, it's a very powerful idea, and I think it's really, the only, will we figure it out as humanity? Probably not. Not anytime soon. But I think that's kind of our only hope, to trust other people and figure out what we have in common. Because then, we do have, each of us has, strengths and weaknesses, but all of us together, we have so many strengths, so many resources to help, each other and to help the world. So, I'll just end by saying that, it's just being part of this kind of community has been extremely, helpful to me. And it's definitely changed me in a significant way that has allowed me to engage with the world in a much more open and I think, constructive way. So I'll just end here and pass it to Zen Master. Maybe you can tell me, what do you think we have in common, Zen Master?
You're sitting, giving a talk, and now I'm going to answer questions. That's it. Yeah, and, we have the same uniform. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's good to see you all, the regulars, people we haven't seen in a while, the new faces. It's always good to have you here. Thank you, Eva, for the talk. At the beginning of the talk, she was already revealing the secret. Yeah? Because she was paying attention of the thoughts that were appearing. She mentioned this email I sent, which are some guidelines. How to structure a talk. But then she said, this idea appeared right away. And she also mentioned, I don't like to be told what to do. Yeah, so probably that was the first reaction. And then other idea and another idea. Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah, that's what the mind does. Or conditioning. I work a lot with scientists and engineers. You heard, help them make sense of data. So with these acronyms. So I have this acronym, OMAR. Yeah. So O is for an object. Could be a thought too. Something appears, like the email I sent. Yeah. And it goes to your mind. That's the M. And in that mind, all these things appear. Yeah. So we interpret what we get. Yeah. Something visual, something we hear, something we smell, something we taste, something we touch, something we think. And we interpret that through our filters, or habits, or karma, or memories. Yeah. And after that, likes and dislikes appear. Yeah. And then maybe some type of action, that's the A. And then there's a result from that action. Yeah. And we get that email, this is BS. I don't like it. And you may reply back, thank you, but not. I'm a free person. I don't have to do that. Or whatever it is, it could be the other thing. Oh, thank you so much. This is so beautiful, so helpful. I really like the structure. Yeah. And that's our mind, So when we practice, we get to see that, some type of practice. I mentioned this before, every day, it's hard to see that, because there's so much going on that it's hard to see that. But if you take a few deep breaths, and then you may see that. If you sit, you see that, Constant. Constant. We're always doing it. Ta, 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 ta. So it's that Omar thing, that object, the mind, the action, and results. That's our life. And the Buddha always pointed to intention as the originator of karma. Yeah. So why do we do what we do? Yeah. Why do we eat every day? Yeah. We need to eat. We like it. Yeah, of course. But there's more to it. Yeah. There's more to it. She also alluded to, situations and other humans and all the stuff that's going on. Yeah. Made me think of that George Harrison tune, I, Me, Mine. Some of the old timers may remember that. Going all day, I, me, mine, going strong all night, I, me, mine. Now they're frightened to leave it. Everybody's leaving it. Coming strong all the time. I, me, mine. Yeah, that's us. It's I, me, mine. Yeah. And yeah, we are afraid to put it down. Yeah, because that's our self, that's our identity, that's whatever it is. Yeah. So this I, my, me. Yeah. It's all those trappings that we have. Yeah. So we are a little afraid to put that down. And we're all weaving it. Not just with yourself, but together. Yeah. Yeah. So he spent some time with Swami Vivekananda, so a lot of this stuff has some, Buddhist and spiritual connotations. It probably has also something to do with his relationship with his bandmates, But that's interesting. In our tradition, we call that I, my, me. Same idea. I, my, me. I, my, me. Little I versus big I. Little I versus big I. Yeah. So this I, my, me is always getting in the way. Yeah, it's always getting in the way. Yeah. But if we have some type of point of reference, some type of practice, some type of sangha, then allows you to see. Yeah. And never say, that's precious. That's precious. Yeah. Because in the sangha, she used the word trust. Yeah. And that trust develops because we hang out and we practice together. And we see each other. Yeah. So we're mirrors for each other. And that's what Sansanim used to call together action. Yeah. So this together action is an antidote for that I, my, me. Because that together action really rubs you the wrong way. Especially on a retreat. Yeah. And I did mention that, I think last Sunday, that analogy that in the Korean culture, the way they maybe... No, if they do it now, wash potatoes and put it all in a barrel with water and then, just stir that and the potatoes hit each other. Of course, the dirt falls. So, it's that together action of the potatoes. Yeah. That is creating, that clean potatoes. So we're all helping each other here. Yeah. And I think that because we have this direction, this common goal, if you want to call it that, then, the annoyances are manageable. Yeah. Plus, we have all these hacks and techniques to deal with that. So, any questions? See, like last Sunday, perfect. You did it. That's it. Now we can just sit.
So, first off, I started giggling here because that makes you the head potato. question, what's with the stick? Tell us about the stick. What's the significance? I actually have a real question to follow, but I'm curious about the stick.
Yeah, see, this is just a symbol. This is Zen stick, So in the old days, Zen teachers used to use the stick to hit students to help them wake up. So when you become a teacher, they give you a stick and some balls and things. So you're going to have a chance to see that on Saturday because we have an Inka ceremony. Someone is becoming a teacher. So it's a unique opportunity to see that, and you'll see that one of the things that they get is this. Yeah. So some people use it, people don't. If you come for a Kong interviews, you'll see the stick there because we use it in interviews, not to hit you. Or maybe. But to ask you questions, there's some questions related to that. So it has a function. Yeah.
Head potato.
Yeah, exactly, head potato.
The real question, though, is you mentioned that how we respond is a function of conditioning. And when I do orientation, I really try to drill that what we're doing here is not just chilling out. We're actually trying to create new conditioning, new mental habits. I was wondering if you could maybe talk about the fundamentals of the sit and how we're trying to undo conditioning and maybe replace it with something different.
Sure. So the question has to do with the practices, in particular sitting that we do here, and how that is creating new conditions, new karma, new habits in our life. Yeah. And since you're talking about potato and conditions and all that, so in Buddhism we talk about causes, cause, conditions, and effect. If the conditions are right, then an effect happens. And sometimes karma appears that way. Inside we may have certain conditions, certain causes, certain propensities, and if we are in certain environments, there's a high probability that a particular effect will happen. Yeah. People in AA understand this really well. Yeah. So if you're there, you avoid situations that have those conditions. Yeah. So it's the same. You think about a pot of boiling water. Yeah. If you put an egg in there, what happens? Nobody has boiled an egg before? Wow. And I thought I was a bad cook. I don't cook. It becomes, yeah. What if you put a potato in boiling water? It becomes soft, yeah. Conditions are the same, but karma, the causes that the egg and the potato have are different, yeah. And even in the same conditions, we may react in a different way. So when we practice meditation, and especially in retreats, we create all these environments so we can just pay attention to all the stuff that happens, that regularly we don't, because as I mentioned, so much going on. Yeah? So if you come to practice or retreat, we really simplify things. You notice we wear these gray robes, monotone, brown. Yeah. And then we follow a schedule. Yeah. And at first we may not like the schedule because I don't like being told what to do. Yeah. But in a way the schedule frees you because you know what you have to do. That's it. No extra thinking involved. Not even what you're going to eat. So you don't have to worry about what you're going to wear, what you're going to eat, what you're going to do. It's pretty much the same. And if you follow that, then that gives you that background to see what's going on. Yeah. And if you're honest and humble with yourself, then you can see that. You say, oh, look at that. Yeah. All these ideas that we have. You may come to a retreat and you go to the monastery and it's beautiful, blue roof, all that. Look at you go there. It's, yes, this is the place. I'm going to get enlightenment today. Yeah. And you're there in the afternoon. It's beautiful. And then, it's a fall and someone, with the leaf blower. It's a you're like, okay, what kind of place is this? How can I attain enlightenment with that? Exactly. Those of you that are laughing can relate to that. Yeah. And those are just ideas that we have. At that moment, we're just breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, and just paying attention. So over time, you'll see all that stuff that's happening. At the beginning, we feel a little frustrated and down because, it's the first time we see all that and say, okay, I'm not good for this, We got all that stuff in there. But actually, that's a good sign because you're paying attention finally. And you get to see that, So rather than feeling discouraged, you should feel, wow, okay, maybe this is what they're talking about. Yeah. And over time, if you see long retreats, then you can see the same drama appearing, some of the same stories. Yeah. But over time, then, those thoughts lose some of their power, some of their energy, because when we see it, then, I mention this all the time, we're moving the energy from the penthouse to the basement, going through, the thinking, checking mind, through the emotional center, to more hara, tantien, it's there. Like those martial artists that no one can move. Solid. So we're taking all that energy from our thinking, our emotions, and letting it, you're putting things down. So essentially we're stop feeding some of those dramas in our head. Yeah. And it takes time. It's been going on for thousands of years and we keep practicing it. But no one can do it for you. The explanations, the method, the technique is very simple. We all do the same thing. Yeah. There are a few guidelines on how to keep your body in a stable position, not comfortable, stable. And then your breath. And then your mind. And that's it. Bah! I keep saying the same thing. It's a practice. And we put the emphasis in the practice because you have to do it. I always tell people when you start, just give it a try, 2 months and see. Check it at the end of 2 months, but do it. Yeah. And see what happens. Yeah. Because Zen is about the experience. Zen is about the experience. I mentioned last Sunday that Zen Master Dae Kwang says that being a Zen teacher is very easy because there's nothing to teach. Only, the job of pointing you to your experience. Yeah. And that's the Zen style. Yeah, Zen style is pointing you back to that experience. Yeah. And that's a long explanation and answer to that question of yes. Another question. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, Sansani. So all of us here are Zen students in some way, shape, or form. Can you speak a little bit to, for you as a teacher, in your experience, what the most kind of common pitfall that Zen students can fall into that kind of starts to get in the way for them, and how we can overcome that?
Okay. So the question is, Zen students, is one of the major pitfalls that we may fall into, and how can we, help that situation? Asking from the other side of the of the interview room or the practice. Yeah. I think Zen Master Tan Gong already pointed to that to Eva. Yeah. Trusting ourselves 100%. Yeah. Trusting ourselves 100%. And notice I'm hitting this. Yeah. Because it comes from there. That's the seat of your will. That's literally the center of gravity of your body. You know, I already mentioned the martial artist. It's just there. Something also used to say that. You're trying to become stronger and stronger and stronger again. That's the energy just getting there. And what we see it with ourselves too, is especially with koan practice. Yeah? Koan practice. Is being able to trust yourself. Koan is very interesting. It's very unique to Zen. And if you want to learn more about it, in January we're going to have Foundations of Zen. Yeah. And luckily for us, another resident Zen teacher here, Zen Master Dae Kwang, is probably going to give the session on koan practice. But in that, you know, you're faced with these situations, yeah. And an answer is expected that connects to that particular situation. You know, I always tell people it's like a movie script, you know, and the teacher is there like the director, and you're auditioning, yeah, for a part, yeah. So you need to know the script, and you need to know how to be a 100% actor or actress. Yeah. And one thing that at least I see sometimes is that you may have it, but you are afraid to let it out. You know? Again, not trusting yourself. Or even if you trust yourself, yeah, the performance is okay, you know. Yeah. Let's say you're auditioning to get a part as a guitar player. Yeah. And you can tell the person knows, you know, what to do. Because we've probably seen a lot of guitar players. They probably do some air guitar themselves. Or you will have some people that, you know, very shyly. Oh yeah, that's a guitar player. But you know, in the movie you cannot play like that, you know. No one is going to believe it. So you're expected to like... And I have a guitar player looking at me right now. So is that, you know, trusting yourself 100%. And this practice allows you to do that, especially koan practice. And Eva mentioned all the teachers that we have, and it's beautiful because she also mentioned that we all have different, we're going to use another word, flavors, you know, or different personalities. And that's also reflected with all the teachers in the school. You know? And you can see that. And you can connect with some and be, you know, a little more reluctant with others. But they're all sharing the same Dharma from their experience, from the way they practice and all that. It's great, you know, that in our tradition you're not tied to just one particular teacher or teachers. Yeah. So, again, a long answer to trust yourself 100% and practice. And if you come, do the koan practice, even though it may be uncomfortable, you don't like it, but in that discomfort is a place where you can stand up and say, okay, just going to give it all. Boom. Yeah. And that's the beauty of that, is that, you know, nobody's going to grade you or anything. It's just, okay, yeah. And sometimes you'll hear a teacher say, yeah, that's okay, that's only 60%. So that's a clue that, oh, okay, I need to give it a little more. Yeah? So. Another question? Yeah. I have one. The guitar player.
When you were talking about bringing your energy down, to me that's like the magic of Zen, of just learning that, you know, that ability, having that ability, or to be grounded in your life and not be perturbed. But there's also, we know we're not supposed to suppress our emotions. And there's that part of that recapitulation that's so important. And sometimes I battle with that, you know. But is there some kind of gentleness or just like disengaging from those things? Or what's that process of respecting those?
Yeah. Thank you, Sunim. Yes. You're bringing up, I think, an interesting and important point. I just mentioning that energy comes out and makes you grounded. But sometimes, as he mentioned, we may, confuse that with repressing stuff, repressing things. And that's not the idea in Zen. We're not repressing that. We're just taking the oxygen out of whatever is going on. To give you another metaphor, that continuous thinking about stuff. Yeah. We have mentioned that phrase about entertaining an idea and how good we are. I love that phrase, yeah, because that's what we do. We get an idea, we entertain it. Suzuki Roshi used to say, if you have ideas, let them come in the front door and go out the back door. Don't offer them tea. Oh, we give them more than tea. We give them a place to stay. Yeah. She alluded to that, with the festering. That's another way of keeping them in there. Yeah. So in this practice, we just let it, And the way we do that is gently, by coming back to the phrase that we use. When you start, we say, clear mind, clear mind, clear mind. Clear mind, clear mind, clear mind. And we think that with our breathing, yeah? Which is a magical thing. I mentioned that before too. That right now, you didn't know that you were breathing. But now, say, are you breathing? Yeah, I am. It's good because it happens in automatic pilot, which is a good thing for some of us. So we think that, the breathing, which is where the energy also comes from. And let things, and very gently. So we all have these, when we're practicing, these moments of enlightenment, literally. Because at some point, it may be once during the sitting period, you realize, oh, that's right. Clear mind, clear mind, clear mind. Don't know. That's a moment of enlightenment. Because at that moment, you realize that, you were somewhere else. Oh, yes, clear mind, clear mind, clear mind. Don't know. And that may last a millisecond, but it doesn't matter. We try, and keep coming back. Over and over and over and over again, but very gently, without judging or anything. I know, at the beginning, it's a little frustrating because there's so much going on. But you're realizing that, you're seeing that for the first time. And they just keep bringing yourself back. And that's all we do. With time, it gets a little easier. Yeah? Maybe those windows are a little longer, maybe a second. But that's the game. That's the practice. You go away, you come back. You go away to something you like and you may stay there. Or you may go to something you don't like and you fester stuff and you feel that energy. Yeah. Then we go to the past, the future. Yeah. Many places. But practice is simply to come back. Come back. Floor is brown, cup is white, yeah. Jeans are blue, casa is brown. Yeah. Just that. Remember last Sunday we talked about the Bahia Sutra, and the scene is just the scene. Brown casa. That's it. And it's brown because that's what we call it in English. Yeah. In Spanish it's marrón. Yeah. Which one is correct? It's just a name for a color. Yeah. So it's just be gentle with ourselves. Part of that, with trusting ourselves, trusting the process. It's just coming back and being careful not to, we're just going to repress something. think we have time for one more question. Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, as usual, I'm listening to all this, and there's like a million connections and questions that are rolling around. And so I'm thinking, giving people the benefit of the doubt, right? That's a good thing. But we're also kind of the same intention, right, here. So how is this not, so I have a couple of questions. So how is this not basically like an echo chamber in which we're all here because we all believe this, and so yeah, of course we can get along, and it's like minor annoyances, but for the most part we're all driving down the same road, right? And then you start talking about intentions and, getting to the basement. Which, to me, like, yes, I'm on board. Trying to get to the basement. I'm in the penthouse most of the time, as my question is demonstrating, right? But doesn't that imply that when you get to the basement, that all human beings are good, are generous, are going to drive down the same road? What if they're not? How do you give benefit of the doubt to people who are not driving down the same road? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would like to hear your thoughts.
Yes. Yeah. And to start, there's nothing wrong with being in the penthouse, A lot of professions demand that, So, it's why you do what you do, yeah. So you're a professor, so yeah, you spend a lot of time. I spend a lot of time here too, trying to help people make sense of data, yeah. But what happens to us is that, spend too much time here, this takes over, or our emotions take over, and all that. So it's just coming back to that center. We always sometimes give this image of those dolls that some of us had when we were kids. They have the weight at the bottom, yeah? They're big, plastic, and you push them, and they come back. You push them, they come back. Doesn't matter which angle. You remember those? Some of you may remember that. That's a nice metaphor for practice because the center of gravity of those are that. So life is going to come, yeah? And it's going to push you different ways. Yeah? But then, if you have some type of practice, then you'll have the ability to come back. Which is important. Yeah? This situation will require you to be here, you do that stuff, and then you come back. What happens is that a lot of times, and for a lot of us, that scale, keeps going and going and going. It's harder to go back, and sometimes it may break. Yeah? You may have some type of intellectual or emotional crisis. So that's one thing. But the other thing that you mentioned, which is the experience of a lot of mystical people, as Eva mentioned that she has a little bit of that mysticism in there, is that when you get to that place, you discover that we're all the same, yeah, and wisdom and compassion appears. Because the moment that you realize that we're all the same, then, it's like hurting yourself. So it's natural compassion. That happens in Christianity, in Islam, in Judaism, Buddhism. It's not, a Zen thing. But it's getting to that place, We go from the little I to the big I. Different religions call it different things. God, Buddha, Allah, love. Zen favorite, emptiness. Yeah. We just cutting through all the thinking is just that point. So we're talking about the I, me, mine. There was Rabbi Lord Sachs, which is one, I think it was the main rabbi in England. And he made a very interesting observation. The synagogue, where he was the head of the synagogue, was in London, in the road parallel to Abbey Road. You know Abbey Road. Mm-hmm. You've seen the picture, yes. Very famous road. And he said, who will walk by, and everybody's there because everybody wants a picture there. But the comment that he makes is very interesting. He said, when they started to become famous and that album came out, Abbey Road, the picture, you see them, they're all looking the same direction, they're all wearing the same thing, they're all very happy. And for me, it's like, that's together action. They're a band, they're united. By the time they got to the 70s with the I, Me, Mine song, he said, you see the pictures, they're all different, wearing different things, they're all looking at different places. You can tell they're not together anymore. And the band after said, it's like, oh, wow, maybe that's why he's the head rabbi. That's a very interesting observation, So that together action that we can lose with the I, my, me stuff, this is in a way an echo chamber, but this echo chamber is something that's been around for thousands of years, and it's just techniques that we have to help us see that. To help us see that Buddha nature that we all have, Santanim used to call that, like in a cookie factory, we're all made of the same dough, like the animal crackers. Some look like a lion, some look like a dog, the different traits and things that Eva pointed to, But once you get to that point, at least in our tradition, the Quantum Zen tradition, is what do we do with that? How do we function? What is our function? How we can put our karma, to use in a way. Because we all have different abilities and causes and stuff. So how do we use that? And that's the other piece of this. And that's related to compassion. Then, being a professor, being a doctor, being a bus driver, cook, musician, it doesn't matter. If you find that direction, then your life is a little clear. And helping is possible. So thank you so much for coming every Sunday. It's beautiful to have you here. May you all be happy. May you all be free from suffering. And may your practice give you the calm and wisdom that we all need to help ourselves and then help this world. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Dave, I didn't update the announcement, so there may be wrong things in there.
Well, we'll interject.
Oh, he's not using. We're good. Yeah, he got it.
Yeah, part of the Sangha. We help each other out. All right, so first up, a lot of announcements, but I want to point out, is everybody on the mailing list? Yes. If you're not, please join the mailing list. That's the best way to keep track of what's going on. Also, is everybody a member? No, that's the best way to keep the building going. So there's a couple of quick pitches. This week we have a 1-week retreat going on in the main hall. Place is full with a lot of people. I think there's still time to join on Wednesday morning for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So if anybody's interested in joining this retreat, the entry point would be Wednesday morning by 9 a.m., so check in with somebody here about that if you're interested. Which brings up Wednesday. We talked last Wednesday. This Wednesday dinner is canceled, but Wednesday practice is on. Is that true? Yes. All right, so no Wednesday dinner this week, so that's kind of important. That'll mess us up a little bit, but we will have Wednesday practice, so that's good news. All right, thank you for that clarification. All right, so we got the Dharma School still going on, September through June. If anybody's interested in that, check in with Lisa. I don't see Lisa here, but that's pretty cool. On New Year's Eve, we have a pretty neat practice that we've been doing a bit. You come for practice in the evening, take a break, come back at midnight. We do some practice, hard practice into the evening. You get to stay overnight for free, and in the morning, pancake breakfast. No morning practice, January 1st, so that's kind of neat. I mentioned the YMJJ, which is going on right now. New Year's self-guided retreat. So this is interesting. December 31st through January 4th. Beginner's welcome. I suggest you check this out on our website, see what's going on with that. Self-guided retreats are always fun. Zen Master Tan Gong talked about a workshop coming up, Foundations of Zen, being taught by himself and Kwan Hang Sanim, and I guess we may have a guest appearance by Zen Master Dae Kwang, January 3rd. Learn all about our practice. So that'd be kind of fun.
This is a different type of retreat because there's a lot of talk.
Yeah, workshop. Yeah,
It's a workshop to learn about the Zen tradition, the history, chanting, and all that.
And then we have in January, we have a one-day silent retreat with Zen Master Tan Gong on January 24th, and I'll leave it at that. We have some tea and some free refreshments out here. I hope you can stay and chit-chat a little bit more. Otherwise, thank you, everybody. Do you want more?
The food drive.
The food drive.
Yeah.
We have a food drive ongoing. There's a table at the front entrance where you can drop off food, so non-perishables are welcome. When does that end?
Sangha weekend.
Sangha weekend, and this
Sangha.
is
Next weekend.
Yeah.
Next weekend. I should have mentioned
Yeah,
that.
a week from today, and this is for the Cumberland food pantry, so to help our community.
Right, and to that point, next Saturday is this week-long retreat ends. We have a big event in the morning, followed by precepts and an Inka ceremony in the afternoon, and then we're back to normal practice the following Sunday.
Buddha's enlightenment ceremony, and then we have an Inka ceremony in the afternoon. Somebody getting Inka, that'd be interesting. So,
And a stick.
and then a Sunday, I don't know exactly what's going on Sunday. Sunday is a regular program that we'll have.
Yeah.
This Saturday is the conscious
So we
dance.
wanted to stay Sunday evening, Saturday evening, and go into Sunday morning would be good. You have the Buddha's enlightenment ceremony in the morning, then the Inka ceremony in the afternoon, and you can stay until the next day if you wanted to do that. You register with Daniel, and do the Sunday program. I think the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Well, that's right. And also-
And there's a dance on Saturday night.
Yeah, there's conscious dance on
So
Saturday
there's a
night.
conscious dance that
Right.
night.
And then on Sunday morning is the
Yes, well, Sunday morning we have keto
yeah, the
at
Kuzo
8
Keto,
a.m.
8
This
a.m.
is
on
with
Sunday
the
morning.
online
Lots
Sangha.
going on.
So we don't even know what it is.
So the best way to keep up with all this stuff is through the email.
Yeah, and go to the website. If I may interject another thing with this, so this midnight practice on New Year's Eve, then you can do the self-guided retreat when we'll have yoga, guided hikes, or you can just kind of hang out and practice. And then you can stay for the foundations retreat. So basically you're kind of, it's like a Wednesday through Sunday special event, and it's our first time trying it out. So
Yeah.
All right.
check it out.
Last call? All right, everybody, thank you.
That kind of goes with this.
Right.